There are tons of isekai anime out there. It's becoming more of a trend nowadays. Isekai anime often have an overpowered MC reputation for the most part. Talk about Naofumi-sama to Kirito from Sword Art Online, the list never ends. So here's the tea. Almost every main character from isekai is transported to a different world where he becomes overpowered and it's literally impossible to beat him. So this video will entertain you and recommend some of the best isekai anime out there. Hey guys, what up? I hope you're doing well. Before starting the video, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and press the bell icon if you don't want to miss out on our future videos. Without further ado, let's talk about the top 10 isekai anime with an overpowered main character. Number 10, Tsukasa Mikogami from Joyoyu. Joyoyu, or High School Prodigies Have It Easy, Even in Another World, is an isekai anime where an airplane accident happens to have 7 high school students in it. But when they wake up, they find themselves in the middle of a magical world. Beautiful, isn't it? On first look, we thought that these high school kids wouldn't survive an era with no modern tech, just a kingdom run by guilds and magic. But to our surprise, these kids are the high school prodigies and they don't even break a sweat. Well, with the story aside, let's talk about our main character, who is Tsukasa Mikogami. Tsukasa's the reason Joyoyu is on our list today. Due to his genius intellect, he's the Prime Minister of Japan at a relatively young age. Like, come on, do you think a high school student will be able to run the whole of Japan? Aside from that, he's also running the high school club called Seven Prodigies. So what makes Tsukasa an overpowered isekai main character? Well, he has the best deduction and planning skills out of all the 7 prodigies. The power to be always correct is something only an overpowered isekai character would possess. So in short, Tsukasa's intelligence is what made him worthy of being on our list today. Number 9, Hajime Nagumo from Arifureta Shokugu de Sekai Seikyu. Another high school isekai anime on our list is Arifureta from Commonplace to the World's Strongest. The story of this anime revolves around our MC Hajime Nagumo. Having an interesting story, Hajime and his classmates are transported to another world one day, so what's in it for them? Talking about the background a little bit, Hajime's a 17-year-old young boy, your everyday otaku in a sense. His life is turned upside down when one day Hajime, along with his classmates, finds himself in a totally different world. In that fantasy world, they're treated like heroes and they have to perform different tasks in order to save humanity in that fantasy world. But that's not where the craziness starts. Unlike his classmates who are blessed with godly powers, Hajime is relatively weak. What has he done for nature to give him only one power, being a synergist? In short, Hajime makes weapons for everyone and is bullied by his teammates. But what's exciting about Arifureta is the fact that how quickly Hajime puts himself away from the bullying phase to be the best hero there ever was. At some point in the anime, he drinks liquefied mana to become stronger and create the most powerful weapons in the history of Arifureta. All in all, Arifureta makes you rethink about a character from scratch. Number 8, Yuto Suo from Hyakuren no Haru to Syaku no Valkyria. Yuto Suo is another overpowered isekai anime character. The anime has a twisted story where Yuto takes a picture of him in front of a mirror and he's suddenly transported to another world. And that world is far different from modern technology. The world is full of war and there is no peace whatsoever. Yuto's invited to the Wolf Clan, who deeply care for him. In return for their generosity, Yuto gives his help in modernizing the clan with his high school knowledge to become more advanced. Even if Yuto is an ordinary high school student, he proves himself to be quite useful by copying the knowledge of various historical commanders he was taught about in high school. As genius as he is, Yuto does make a great commander, but what actually surprised us was the fact that Yuto can be quite dangerous sometimes. After winning the war against the Horn Clan, he decided to burn the captain of that clan. Now that's pretty crazy, isn't it? Due to the overpowered character and ruthless attitude, Yuto makes a great addition to our list. Number 7. Sato Pendragon Death March Gara Hajimaru Isekai Gyosokyoku. Boy, oh boy, this one is going to be rather interesting. A 29-year-old game programmer finds himself in the middle of an RPG game that was going to be released just the next day. In-game, he becomes a 15-year-old boy named Sato Pendragon. At first, he thinks he's just dreaming. However, when he feels that he's sane, things start getting exciting. A 15-year-old in an RPG game. What do you expect? He wipes out a whole lizard army with the powerful attacks he possesses, and Sato becomes a high-level adventurer. The whole anime is filled with action-packed adventure where Sato literally obliterates the enemy by making them think he's an ordinary person. Sato hides his levels so that he can live peacefully, but like any other isekai anime, there's a demon king as well. Sato gears himself to fight the demon king, and the results are rather interesting. Death March is another anime where the main character is pretty powerful, even though he tries to hide it all the time.
盲目の写真ブラインドサンド目が今だトヤさんああもう厄介ごとに首を突っ込んで
Toya Mochizuki from Isekai wa Smartphone to Tomo ni. The story revolves around the main character Toya Mochizuki, who's died. So that's it. Story finished. Well, just kidding actually. Toya dies by the mistake of God himself. After he gets face to face with the anime god, he's reincarnated into another world of fantasy. As the anime name has smartphone in it, he gets to keep his phone too. Toya's adventure begins when he's revived into a fantasy world where he gets superhuman strength and powers as his body is made from the divine realm's material itself. Sounds pretty cool, right? His adventure is full of magical adventure where he defeats enemies like they're literally nothing. Toya has an overpowered state where he's able to control all types of magic and even nullify any magic that comes forth. Our main character is overpowered in every aspect of his life, even marrying 9 of the princesses. This guy is a lucky hotshot for sure. At some point in the anime, Toya becomes the king of the spirits and awakens his god powers as well. The story and power of the main character make this anime worthy of being on our list.
本物の魔王として異世界に召喚されることになるだなんて。
Number 5. Diablo from Isekai Maruto Shokan Shoujo no Dorai Majutsu. Have you ever dreamt of being the main character of your most favorite game? Well, Diablo in this case had, and he actually got transported into his favorite MMORPG game. Becoming the Demon Lord in his most playable game, Diablo has an interesting story. For a bit of background, our main character's name is Darkuma and not Diablo. He's summoned into the game by 2 girls to make him a servant of them. However, the word is misspelled, and the results the exact opposite. Rem and Shira are the 2 girls who were summoned. The spell turns upside down and now those 2 are Darkuma's servants. Darkuma's known as the Demon Lord Diablo in the game, and using his overwhelming powers, he always beats all of the enemies that come in his way. On the other hand, he's always holding back his destructive powers as there's no need to get worked up to kill a bunch of weaklings. Talking about Diablo's strengths, he has a ton of working skills such as the Ebony Abyss, Distorted Crown, Call of Darkness, and the list just goes on. What we can guarantee is the fact that Diablo is the most overpowered character in this series.
いいから出ろって。大地。
Number 6. Daiichi Nishimura from Isekai Cheat Magician. Not your fantasy isekai anime, Cheat Magician has a great story and awesome characters. Daiichi Nishimura is the MC of this anime who gets transported into another world suddenly. Upon the transfer, he's given an overwhelming power, making Daiichi the most overpowered character of the series. The huge magical abilities turns him into an overpowered beast, and enemies, he just obliterates them throughout the series. Gasim and Remio find out that he has the magical potential and he ends up getting into a team with them. Talking about Daiichi's powers, he's equipped with some of the most dangerous moves in the fantasy world. Having expertise in all 4 properties, he can summon spirits and control them to his liking. Isekai Cheat Magician is a prime example of how overpowered anime characters can dominate most of the isekai world. Number 3. Rimuru Tempest from Tensai Shitara Slime Datan Ken. I remember waiting for a whole week for this anime to surface. Satoru Mikami, a Rimuru Tempest, is the protagonist of this anime. Satoru dies and gets turned into a slime. To his surprise, he becomes a best friend with Veldora Tempest as he absorbs him at some point. Having all the properties of Veldora, Rimuru becomes the most powerful entity when it comes to the plot. His ability to absorb the enemies and then use their powers for his own benefits is probably one of the best skills he's got there. The transition from Rimuru thinking that he's the weakest to the world's strongest is the best feeling you'll ever get, isn't it? Well, Rimuru is quite happy with his powers too. Rimuru built his own guild to remove all the evil from the fantasy world, and the rest is history. All in all, Rimuru makes one of the best overpowered isekai anime characters out there. Number 2. Shimazu Toyohisa from Drifters. One of my personal favourite isekai anime has to be Drifters. Too bad it won't be returning, but by the makers of Hellsing, this anime has the potential to easily be one of the best isekai series out there. The series revolves around Shimazu Toyohisa, who died in the year 1600. When he's transported to the New World, he's badly injured and is invited to Nobunaga and Nasa's hideout where his wounds get treated. Nasa and Nobunaga are elves struggling to help other elves. As Shimazu is an overpowered character with a man of limitless abilities, he easily makes up his mind to help the elves. What makes this anime interesting from the bunch is the fact that Shimazu had the same power in real life and in the isekai world. The whole series revolves around having a war with humans to protect elves, and the creators have done a great job in doing so. Shimazu Toyohisa makes a totally badass, overpowered isekai anime character.
よっしゃよっしゃよっしゃ
あーくんたらお母さんも行くから待ってって言ったのに全然待ってくれないんだもの。お母さんすっごく悲しかったわ。
Number 1. Masato Usuki from Shoujoku Geki. Finally, in the number 1 spot we have Shoujoku Geki. Masato Usuki is the main protagonist for this series, and he's a beta tester for a new MMORPG game with his mother. After getting a contract by a government official, Masato and Mamako get a chance to test the newly released game. Well, you've guessed it, the same isekai story of every other anime, but with a twist. The game itself is designed to make mothers closer to their child, but when there are MILFs involved, you know what awaits you. Fan service. Moving back to the subject, Masato gets the most powerful item in the game, the King's Sword. Using this sword, he literally slays all the enemies. His reduction armor is also equipped with anti-magic powers that make him pretty much invincible in the anime. Considering all the plus points Masato had, he's definitely one of the most overpowered mom-loving characters, if not isekai characters of all time. That's it for our top 10 today. Before you leave the video, make sure to like, share and subscribe. Also press the bell icon if you don't want to miss our future videos. And I hope you enjoyed this video too. Until next time, peace out.